Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Jake Sturmer. The supply of free music over the internet has ravaged the Australian record industry, cutting its value by more than a quarter since 2005. But new figures reveal the worst may be over, with digital music sales growing by more than 36% last year. Michael Atkin reports.
The music industry has a major problem.
I don't buy many CDs in stores.
Can you even think of the last time?
I bought a CD for someone else.
A generation of music fans have grown up without having to pay.
I've been illegally downloading it because it is more accessible, it is easier, we're on the internet all the time.
Elizabeth Rose is part of a new breed of recording artists turning the suburban home into a studio. The music she records here in her bedroom will be released by a record label, Inertia. But unlike traditional record deals, Elizabeth will keep all the rights to her music and get a larger slice of the sales.
I've been doing it on my own for a few good years now, but I really feel that I'm at the point where I need a network of people around me just to help me get to the next level.
The 21-year-old has been using social media sites to give her music away and increase her profile.
The internet just isn't on the fringes of what we do anymore. It's the new sales platform. Artists come to us and don't say, hey, we want to put out an album in 12 months. They come to us and they say, hey, we want to put in an EP next Monday.
Now with a new service called Inertia Access, she's going to start charging over the internet for her songs.
How are things coming along getting the remixes together?
Yeah, good.
Instead of an artist signing with a label for several years and releases, they pick what services they want and pay a fee.
Things that artists can buy into based on what their actual needs are at the time, rather than essentially having a one-size-fits-all sort of model.
Just how difficult is it trying to make a crust out of being an independent musician in Australia?
I think the more you think about it, probably the worse it gets.
A few years ago, Lucius Borich was drumming in Cog, one of the country's hottest rock bands.
People were turning up to shows and buying merchandise, and you were on the big day out in the main stages around the country. It was fantastic.
But when Cog went to record their second album, that momentum came crashing to a halt.
It was a hard time for the band. It was a really hard time for the band, you know.
With the backing of an independent label, the band recorded an album in the US. But Cog didn't have enough material ready and had to write under pressure.
You got management saying the bill's going up, and you're sitting there going, we've got to come up with great songs, and we've got to, not only impress ourselves first and foremost, but other people as well.
You talk about the bill going up. Just how high did it get?
I think it ended up being something like $200,000.
That album, Sharing Space, went gold, selling more than 35,000 copies. But despite the success, the band never saw any money. It went towards paying off the studio bill.
G'day. So this is one of the guys we're looking at.
That scenario isn't possible on the new label Create Control.
The artist can start making money from their first sale and there's not a debt to recoup.
The soon-to-launch label is the brainchild of music industry veteran Paul Petico. Bands will be able to keep their copyright, split the sales income 50-50 and have access to marketing. But the catch is the artists have to pay to create their own content.
The way labels are structured is about 2/3 of the money goes into the creation of records and film clips and so on. That's a very cost-heavy part of the business.
Cynics in the industry might say this is about cost-cutting from your perspective.
Sure. You know, I guess it could be seen as that. I don't know if it's cynical because, you know, I've still got to commit our label to whatever the artists are. You know, we have to develop those careers. But it is definitely a way of lowering investment, definitely.
Right now, Elizabeth Rose isn't worried about that rapid change. She's revelling in the buzz around her. The ultimate aim is to turn the attention into a viable career.
I'm very optimistic, so I'm hoping that I'll have a good career out of it. I'm really hoping, trying with all my might.
Australia's Privacy Commissioner has joined 36 US Attorneys General, as well as regulators in Korea and the European Union, urging the online giant Google to delay a new policy giving it unprecedented access to the personal data of its users. But Google is defiant and has launched the new privacy policy regardless. Margot O'Neill reports.
There's never been such a large and far-reaching data bank of who does what, who wants what, who reads what. Google has the most remarkable data I've ever seen in the history of information.
Google's informal motto is "do no evil," meaning it puts the interests of users before profit. But with annual revenues of nearly $40 billion, many question whether that motto still applies.
Google has to find new ways to make the money that Wall Street expects it to make. They need to monetize the people that use their service more effectively. And these policy changes in their privacy code that happen on the 1st of March allows Google to data mine the information that we give them on a daily basis.
And that includes
what you searched for, what words, what medical conditions, what jobs, what prospective romantic partners, everything you can imagine. Google would know what you searched for and know what you clicked.
Google's new policy will allow it to cross-reference personal data across more than 60 Google products, including web searches, YouTube, Gmail, mobile phones, tablets, and location finders. It will record what you're doing, as well as what you wish you were doing, when you're doing it, where you are, who you're talking to, and what you're talking about. It may end up knowing more about you than you realise. For instance, if you spend time searching for cooking tips, YouTube might suggest relevant videos. But Google says it's up to the user.
An ad done well can be useful information. And one way to make an ad more useful is to tailor it based on your interests. Now, that's what the Google Advertising Network does. However, I would like to say 3 very important things about Google. 1, we never sell your data. 2, we give you what's called the Ads Preferences Manager, where you can go in and turn off these tailored ads if you choose. And 3, we never tailor ads around sensitive categories like race, health, religion, or sexual orientation.
But the information is still recorded somewhere in Google. So what if the data is hacked and used against you?
We have hundreds of world-class engineers who work on nothing but protecting the privacy and security of our systems and your data.
We've seen over the last 12 months in particular a number of very significant data breaches. That's where people have hacked into systems of different companies around the world. What that raises with me is, why do organisations need to collect that much personal information?
As competition between Google, Microsoft, Facebook and Apple intensifies, so have the number of privacy breaches against them and by them. Recently, Google was caught bypassing privacy settings in Apple's Safari browser to track people's online behaviour. Google said it was accidental.
When we make mistakes, we learn from them.
But there are questions now whether the wild west of personal online and mobile data mining needs to be reined in.
How easy is it going to be for people to understand what's happening with these changes and to have choices about what sort of information they may disclose if they move from one product like Gmail to another product like YouTube? What information is being collected, and is that information being aggregated, and how may it be used after that?
Privacy matters deeply to us, and continuing to discuss this topic, we're very, very happy to do it.
Not a revolution, perhaps an evolution. The switch to electric cars, if it's to happen, still has a long way to go. But Canberra could be leading the way. The ACT government has become the first in Australia to make electric cars part of its public service car fleet.
It's as simple as park and plug. By day, government workers use the car. By night, it's charged. There may be less than 100 electric cars on ACT roads, but the capital's leading the country in the shift to cleaner transport.
Really nice, very quiet.
For the ACT government, it's a case of leading by example.
We need to walk the walk as well as talk the talk, and as I said, we've set ourselves some pretty ambitious targets around how we want to reduce our energy consumption.
And in an Australian first, a private company, Better Place, is already rolling out charging points across Canberra, making electric cars an option for everyone.
You're swapping the petrol bowser for the plug. I think most people know how to plug a plug into a wall.
Once a curiosity, the major car manufacturers are now embracing electric vehicles. But this car, the Fluence by Renault, could be a game changer. It can be charged at home or work, or the battery can be changed for a fully charged one at an automated swap station in less than 3 minutes. Better Place plans to build Australia's first battery swap station in Canberra.
Really, it's when people first drive an electric car, I think, that the light goes on and they realise this is not something in the far distant future, this is something that can happen today.
When we look at the big energy users and consumers and the contributors to greenhouse gas emissions in Canberra, it's our use of energy and our use of the car. So if we have to tackle both of those areas if we're going to achieve our greenhouse gas reduction targets.
The government hopes 10% of Canberrans will be driving electric cars by 2020.
And that's all for this edition of the Technology Quarter. Thanks for your company. We'll see you again soon on ABC News 24.